The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
Yeah. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and today, normally you already know, on Thursdays, we have that wonderful doctor. Well, I call her a doctor because she's that and a lot of other things as well. And I'm talking about the things that she do, the services that she provides in helping people heal from grief and other things that might be happening in their life. She's one of my most favorite people on this earth. And I tell you, so normally we talk about bridges beyond grief. Yeah, but I think Michelle got a special show coming up today. And I don't even know what the guest is. But we're going to figure that out in a few minutes. But all I know is I'm excited about this guest that I think Michelle has identified being on the show today to talk about a lot of things. How you doing, Michelle? How you doing?
I am doing great, and we love having this guest on the show. She's a staple on the show, and she is so informative and so helpful too. not only her clients, but the audience as well. So we are welcoming her back at the show, and she's actually going to be the actual guest today. So we're just really excited to have her back.
Well, I can't hold it back anymore. Our guest is the one and only Paula Shaw. And I tell you, it's just so excited. I've been knowing this young lady for about 10, 12 years, maybe longer than I don't know. But I know that I have learned so much from her, and I am happy to have her on as a guest. Normally, she is the co-host of the primary host.
Yes.
For our Thursday show, Bridges Beyond Grief. Michelle, can you please tell our viewers and our listeners the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely wonderful guest?
Oh, most definitely. So the title of today's show is called, it's called Healing Through the Holidays, Coping with Loss and Finding Comfort. This is part one of the show. And we have Paula Shaw, who's a life transitions expert, grief specialist, keynote speaker, media host, and author as a guest on the show. Just the talking points today. Why are holidays so difficult when experiencing loss and grief? Holidays express joy and family. Is that more difficult for people who are in the midst of grieving? Should you keep up old traditions and strategies that can help people deal with loss during the holidays? Paula is going to just highlight some points today for our part one show about people dealing with the holiday season. And we're coming up, November's right around the corner. It's Thanksgiving and it's Christmas and New Year's. So holidays is rough for people who are in the midst of loss and grief. So please welcome to the show. And Paula Shaw, again, she is amazing. She has an all-inclusive coaching program called Bridges Beyond Grief. She's a best-selling author of several books, including Chakras, The Magnificent Seven, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End, and Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. Please welcome, as the guest on the show today, Paula Shaw.
How you doing, Paula?
Oh, well, even if I had been having a rough week, and it's been a bit of an overwhelming week, that little intro just made me feel like Queen of the Earth. So thank you, you two. It's always a joy to be here and to be with you. And I am particularly excited about what we're going to talk about today because it's such a tough one for so many people. And we're going to get into the whys of it. And then my hope is that next week, we're going to talk about what can you do? How can you help yourself? How can you make it better and take better care of yourself during this time when you are dealing with loss and grief?
I have to say this, Paul, that I am so happy that God put me in your path many years ago.
That's
He embraced all these times that we are going through or have already been through as it relates to grief, as it relates to entering holidays with the loved ones, and how to, some of the things that you're going to talk about on how to cope with those things. So all of those things, in my opinion, was planned by him. He saw all of this up to this moment and even further. To talk about these things. So, Paula, for people that have not seen you, you're on every Thursday, every other Thursday, and you've been on for years with us, and you had your own show. Can you tell them a little bit more about the Paula Shaw? What makes her click? Why she's so passionate about the things that she is doing, and how do you stay 30 something looking for the last
Oh, I love being here. Oh, okay. So originally I started out as a alcohol and drug abuse counselor. And somewhere along the way, I met a man named John James, who wrote the Grief Recovery Handbook. I met him at a conference, actually, that was about addiction, because John was a recovering alcoholic, but also had realized this important connection between addiction and unreconciled grief and loss. You know, we all go through loss and trauma as we're growing up. And sometimes it can get even worse, or we can go through worse things as we move into adulthood. And John never put it exactly this way, but it is my feeling, after now becoming a grief expert, going through years of training with him, actually working for the Grief Recovery Institute, I realized that most addiction is a result of unreconciled pain that exists because people never were able to resolve and heal from the trauma and the loss experiences that they went through earlier in life. And so once I put that connection together, I realized that a piece that seemed to be missing in a lot of recovery programs at that time was this: dealing with loss and grief, helping people to not just push it back or go forward, as everybody always says, but helping them heal, helping them really find the causes, find those moments in life that are still stuck in their heads and their hearts, and be able to truly put those behind them so that they could be fully functioning people, not needing the drugs or the alcohol or the distractions. You know, it can also be shopping. It can be too much exercise. It can be gambling. It can be, there are so many things that become addictive because people just need to sidetrack themselves from the reality of their life. And this time of year, JC, it all seems to come to the fore for several reasons that we'll talk about.
Well, you know, Paula, so I've got about 2.5 minutes before the break, but what specific moments or tradition brings up the strongest emotions, especially going into the holidays?
Yeah.
As a person is still grieving or have already grieved, but the moments come back to them.
Right.
Because of the time of year. Can you talk about that?
You know, it's a great question, JC, and yet there's not a one size answer, one size fits all kind of an answer, because the truth is you don't know what's going to trigger you. It might be the smell of cinnamon rolls. It might be a favorite song. It might be a place that you had experienced either in the job that you've lost or with the person that you've lost or the circumstance that you wish was different that isn't. So remember, loss is much more than just death. We grieve loss, but it could be the loss of health. It could be the loss of a job. It could be the loss of a familiar surrounding. It could be the loss of a certain circumstance. So loss comes in all sizes and all packages: divorce, breakups, losing a home. And let's don't forget what a lot of people are going through right now, and that is financial loss, because the holidays are all about food and fun, right? Well, it's pretty tough to have a good food and fun experience if there isn't the money to buy the things you need to create those experiences, whether it's wanting to buy gifts or wanting to buy food or tickets to some special holiday show, whatever it is. If you are dealing with hard times, which a lot of people are right now, it's very, very difficult to have those holidays be the way you imagine them to be. And I don't know about you all, but Courier and Ives and, oh God, who was the other one? There's another artist whose pictures you always saw on the magazine covers, and it was like the ideal family setting, the ideal holiday setting. And we all have an idea a dream in our mind of how we want those holidays to look. And when they don't look that way, it's very difficult, very difficult.
It's very, very difficult when it's like that. And of course, you and I have experienced, I think this is as it relate to you, the first time this time that you're going to be experiencing certain things during these holidays with a loss of a loved one.
Yes.
And it's tough many times because you did mention just little simple things like cinnamon or other things. But I'll tell you what, we're going to take a station break. But I tell you, the holidays are approaching. Paula Shaw is the best in the business and what she does. If you want to be part of this great conversation, all you have to do, whichever platform that you're watching us on, is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. Renee Toppins, Dr. Toppins, thank you so much for watching. But others we want to watch and as well and comment. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Is living in today's fast-paced world making you feel stressed and out of balance? Are anxiety, sleeplessness, depression, lack of focus, or weight gain robbing you of your relationship and your energy? If you're ready for change, you need to call Paula Shaw. Paula helps you identify and eliminate self-sabotaging thinking and behavior. Using a wide variety of mind-body techniques, she provides her clients with the most effective processes for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Heart disease research saves lives. It's that simple. Thanks to medical advancements funded by the American Heart Association, more women are surviving heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases than ever before. But there's still so much work to do.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm raising funds to support life-saving research because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, please join me in support of the American Heart Association and women's health.
The future is here.
Now is the time to pursue the greatness in you. Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith meets future. We are a fully accredited, 100% online Christian university. We offer bachelor's degree, master's and doctorate degree programs, built for students like you. Affordable tuitions, 30+ degree programs, 100% online and flexible. Integrating faith with learning. Study from anywhere at your pace. At VCU, we do not just prepare you for a degree. We prepare you for purpose. Discover who you are. Grow in faith. And build a future that impacts the world.
Are you ready to start your journey today?
Visit www.viridianchristianuniversity.com.
Apply today and be among the global leaders.
Show, It's Your Life. And just like I mentioned earlier, normally on Thursdays, at least every other week, we have Paula as the host. I mean, I'm of course co-host with both, but it's hers, and she is educating us all on a lot of things as it relate to grief. Uh, the portion of that show on Thursdays is called uh, uh, Be, Beyond Grief Beyond the Bridges. I mean, and other things that she talk about. She talk about what's the name of that? What's the name of the show, Paul?
Bridges Beyond Grief. You were close.
I was close, but and that deals with a whole lot of things because as it relate to bridges, there have to be an avenue or that have to be a path
Mhm.
that we have to attain in order to cross over where I'm not saying we forget about everything that happened to our loved ones or anything like that, but we have to be able to cross and but continue to love and remember and still grieve a little bit. And so it's important that you all tune in to a portion of the show when we're doing that, and she will be back next week again with part 2 of this.
Mhm.
And I'm just so excited. But Paula, I mean, it's what are some of the expectations others, feeling the hardest to meet during the holiday season, the expectations that they will be able to get through this holiday, this time, this period, because
Mhm.
it's painful. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. And JC, that kind of ties in with a thought that just came to me in the words that you were so wisely speaking. If we are really going to enjoy the holidays, or for that matter, any moment of our lives, we have to be present. We have to be in the moment, as they teach us so wisely. Because if we're not, if our mind is on what we have to do or what we no longer have, if we're dealing with loss, then we cannot absorb and interact with the moment we're having. And if we can't do that, we don't really get to experience it fully, do we? And so if my mind is distracted with my pain or with my thinking about what I no longer have, whether it's a job, a person, a marriage, a home, a circumstance, whatever my loss is, if I'm more focused on that than I am on the moment I'm experiencing, I can't really have the joy of the moment that I'm in. And so when we are dealing with loss, it's so hard to be in the moment because we can't stop thinking about what we lost. We can't ignore the pain that we're feeling, that things aren't the same anymore. And when I was doing my show, JC, Change It Up Radio, I would talk pretty much every week about the fact that humans love consistency. They love sameness. And when something changes, even though we need change for growth and to keep us interested in life, we're not comfortable when things are different. We're not comfortable when we don't have sameness anymore. And so, especially the holidays, one of the traps is a lot of us have family traditions about how we're going to do it. Some people cook a turkey on the morning of the gathering for Thanksgiving. Some people opt to do something different than turkey. Some people love having everybody come and have fellowship and maybe outdoor game time and stuff while those good smells are all coming from the kitchen. But if this is a Thanksgiving that's going to be spent without a person or without the family home or without somebody being in good health. I know 2 members of my family are in hospitals right now, and it's touch and go. We don't know if they're going to be there on Thanksgiving. So our sameness has really gone through a lot of upheaval. I think you also referred to the fact, JC, that last year on December 16th, I lost my dad 3 days before his 99th birthday. So it was a rough Christmas, only a little more than a week later. And one of the things I want to share with our listeners is if that loss happened, whether it happened close to the holiday, like not in my case, or if it happens sometime this year, don't gather and try to act like everything's okay. You don't have to all sit around and cry for the whole time you're together. Let's say it's Christmas or even Thanksgiving. It happened in our family that we lost a dear member a few weeks before Thanksgiving. And so what we did was when we gathered around the table, we had a place set for him. Nobody sat there. There was a special memory candle that we had purchased. And at a certain time before the meal, we lit the candle and we passed it. And we each either shared a memory that we had of him, or we just took a moment for ourselves and then passed it to the next person. Were there tears? Oh, yeah. But there was acknowledgement of the reality. And once that happened, it's like something inside of you says, okay, you acknowledge this human. You acknowledge what he meant to you. And then there's a little more freedom to go forward, to even laugh, to enjoy the rest of the family time. So consider that as part of your holiday gathering this year if you have lost someone significant, whether it was death or maybe they're now hospitalized for some health reason, whatever it is, acknowledge reality. Authenticity is really, really important when you're dealing with this.
Wow. So you brought up a whole lot of things right there. And as you were talking, I was thinking about in the past, little ones that we had lost in my family. And when we gather, sometimes we start telling stories and connections of the things that they did and the joy that we all got out of them being there and just sharing the stories among ourselves, and as families and or friends that brought comfort to all of us as we remember them and remember the things that they did to make us happy or feel comfortable. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think, JC, that's where the origin of the word bittersweet must have come from. Because when you share those memories, there's always going to be the pain that goes with it because that person is no longer there. Things are different. But oh my God, it's so sweet. And when you all can laugh together over some moment you shared with that person, it's just such a warming, connecting experience. And that's important to do. Again, going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, don't just ignore the loss. Don't try to gather and giggle and carry on the way you normally would. Acknowledge the new reality because this is going to become the new normal. And I know some people feel like you can never get over the loss of a certain situation or a certain person or that kind of thing. But one of the ways we do better with being able to move forward is acknowledging that truth, acknowledging that we've lost them, and acknowledging that hurts, and acknowledging that they were a very special being in our lives, and sharing those sweet stories is a really fine way of doing that.
I believe that's so true because it brings back the memory of them, and it brings back the togetherness that we shared at one moment.
Yes.
And it brings joy. We like to think that by bringing joy, that person that's no longer with us is in heaven, just looking down, and they're happy that we are celebrating them, but also being able to move on and smile and, have a good time. So
Exactly. And that word joy is so important, JC, because one of the things that makes the holidays hard for people is they're all about joy. And most people going through loss that are grieving don't feel much joy. They are, and so then they kind of feel really out of it, like everybody else is fa la 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 lying and laughing and eating fun food. And that's the last thing you feel like doing when you're really sad and devastated.
yeah, so we're going to take a station break, but I want to give a shout out to Dr. Renee Toppins, who's always watching. She's part of the Viridian Christian University family, doing a lot of great things. Dr. Monica C. Savage, oh wow, incredible individual. Own her own travel agents. I'm gonna tell you what, if you're looking for great deals and looking for someone that's totally professional, that's going to work in your own interests, Monica is that person. Monica and her husband, they are that person. Yolanda Anderson. I mean, hey, Yolanda, thank you so much for tuning in to the James Cooley Show Is Your Life. And wow, and others that are out there that have not popped in, hey, don't be scared. Come on and identify yourself so we can give you a shout out. So I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching us on, if you want to be part of this great conversation with Paula Shaw, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
The future is here.
Now is the time to pursue the greatness in you. Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith meets future. We are a fully accredited, 100% online Christian university. We offer bachelor's degree, master's and doctorate degree programs, built for students like you. Affordable tuitions, 30+ degree programs, 100% online and flexible. Integrating faith with learning. Study from anywhere at your pace. At VCU, we do not just prepare you for a degree. We prepare you for purpose. Discover who you are. Grow in faith. And build a future that impacts the world.
Are you ready to start your journey today?
Visit www.viridianchristianuniversity.com.
Apply today and be among the global leaders.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and just like Michelle had mentioned to you earlier, it's always a treat and pleasure to have Paula Shaw on the show. She always brings a wealth of knowledge, educate all of us, and not too much, kind of bring joy to us that even though we go through a tragedy or grief, that we can always lift our heads up because she's going to bring insight to you about some of the things that she does and things that are going to help. Before I get back to Paula, I want to say that February, Michelle and I are heading back to Africa to finish up the second portion of my coronation as king. So the kingdom Agona, Quick Sakhan, it's in Central African. I am the ambassador of that region to the United States, and also one of the sub-kings of that. And Michelle will be heading back there with me, where she will be crowned queen. That's in February. It shows you how God is so great. God is so good. Never in a million years would I have thought that this would ever happen. And I know people that watch it on my channels. They see the tradition, they see the ceremony, and they're like, this is fake. No, no, this is real. It just doesn't happen that often where a person coming from the United States go there and accepted in as a leader that's going to represent countries. So we're going to have more information coming out about that as we get closer to February. But Paul, I want to get back to what we're talking about as it relates to a lot of things that you are doing, your books that you write about. One of the books, I like all your books, but one of the ones that I really love is the one you talk about when you don't know what to say. I mean, because we can easily say the wrong thing and not knowing that it's the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I will, JC. In fact, I'm very excited that I have been invited by Tracy Pryor, who was a former guest. She is the deputy district attorney here in San Diego, and she is the head of a family justice center here called One Safe Place, and they are just opening up a new one in National City, and I've been invited to speak there on this very topic, which the name of the book that JC was close once again, but not quite. It's called Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And it is available on Amazon. It's one of my favorite books I've written too, because it's not a huge book, but it gives you the information in a very succinct way. And then it actually gives you lists of things to say, the right way to talk to somebody who's dealing with loss, and things not to say. That's probably the most important list. Like one of the most common things people do is somebody will be talking about their loss and they'll go, "Oh, I know how you feel." Well, what do you think is the first thought that comes to somebody who's in agony and they're talking to somebody who looks like they're pretty cheerful, and that cheerful person says, "Oh, I know how you feel"? The first thing you're going to do is get your hackles up and think, "No, you don't. You have no idea how it feels to be me. You have no idea the agony I'm going through." Now, we ought to ask ourselves, normally when we're talking to somebody who's dealing with loss, we want to help. Most of us are good folks and we want to help. Well, is it helpful if you get somebody backed into a corner where they'd rather slug you than speak to you. No, it's not helpful. So we want to have an understanding of what are the right kinds of things to say. You know, I was just saying to JC a few minutes ago, one of the hardest parts of the holidays for people is that they seem to be all about joy. You know, that's what we're celebrating is joy. Well, if somebody, you know, if you were to get honest, because I also said it's important to be authentic and just say, I'm having such a hard time feeling like the holidays. In fact, I'm dreading the holidays this year. And if someone were to say to me, oh, don't be like that, don't dread them, maybe they'll shift you or make you feel better. That would not be a helpful statement, even though obviously they would want to be helping me. What might be more helpful is to say, wow, I get it. I understand how tough it must be for you. And I know grief can be exhausting. But when you have even more things to do now, it can feel overwhelming and tough. Or it looks like everybody else is happy. I know it must be like you don't even want to step into that room because that's not what you're really feeling. See, that kind of a statement's helpful because it includes empathy. It includes understanding what someone is feeling, where if someone says to you, oh, don't feel that way, or why don't you try harder, dude? You know, maybe you can cheer up. Or maybe if you just go to the party, you'll feel better. That isn't necessarily helpful. I think it's definitely more helpful to come from the heart, come from empathy and connection, and having the desire to comfort and not criticize.
You know, a lot of times, you know, people that, I mean, all the information that you're putting out there right now, if they don't know what to say, they probably should just not say anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
John James used to say, sometimes you just want to say, shut up and give me a hug.
You know, Yolanda Anderson, from the last segment that we were talking about, what we were talking about, family members talking about, discussing, etc. She said, it took me 8 years to celebrate Thanksgiving again after they buried my father.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I get it, because especially if we have certain traditions, like maybe dad used to always be the one to carve the turkey, or maybe dad made a toast, and there are these wonderful memories. You connect with him, and now he's not going to be there. And, you know, so one of the things I suggest to people is try to do things a little bit differently. Try not to recreate the same family traditions in the same exact way when the person who was central to that tradition is no longer there. Try to come up with some new ideas, and we'll get into more specifics of that when we talk about the ways to take care of yourself next week. But I understand, you know, sometimes, and especially if you aren't able to express yourself authentically and in the moment, you know, like I was saying earlier, you never know what's going to bring up the feelings of pain. It might be the smell of your favorite dish that your loved one used to cook. It might be a song that they always sang or that you all sang together. Sometimes it's a smell. Or a taste. And so you don't know when it's coming, but as much as possible, try to experience the genuine emotion you're experiencing right then and there when you're having that feeling, because then you can move it up and out, and it won't be, because if you try to push feelings down, trust me, it takes energy to do that. And whatever we feed energy to grows. So don't try to push those feelings away. Experience them. Then they will pass through and naturally move on.
Wow. That's great information, Paula. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We still got a lot for Paula, y'all. It's not too late to become part of this conversation. If you want to be part of this conversation, whichever platform that you're watching us on, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And I'm just sitting here just enjoying this discussion that we're having with Paula show. And well, hold on, somebody joined us. Paula, who is that stranger that just joined us?
I think it's Dr. Michelle Cooley.
I'm the person who introduced Paula on the show in the beginning.
I just don't remember, but all the information that she's putting out is so helpful. This is part one. We got part two next week. So we're not done with this one here, but it's a prelude of what's going to follow next week.
Yes.
Deeper into the conversation. Dr. Michelle Cooley, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, James. So, Paula, this is our last segment for part one. What do you want to hone on in during this part one of the show about the specific topic, and any points you want to make?
Yeah, let me just try and summarize some of what we have said. The holidays are loaded with almost like landmines for people who are dealing with emotional pain. They're all about happy, right? Everybody we see, there's parties, there's programs, there's special shows, there's Christmas caroling. There are all these activities involved with the holidays, and they all seem like fun and focus on joy. And grief is exhausting. I always tell my grief clients, grief is like being hit with a Mack truck. I don't care how much energy you used to have. When you're grieving, you just feel sad. You want to just pull the covers over your head and not have to deal with anything. I mean, I can remember times when going to the grocery store just felt like the hardest thing in the world to do when I was grieving and I had that in front of me. It's kind of like when you're really, really sick. You know, how you don't want to do those things. And so that having those energy grabbers or energy suckers in front of you as part of what you would need to do starts really making people feel overwhelmed and exhausted. And then you don't want to participate, so you feel defective. Isolation, by the way, is not a good thing for people who are grieving. They need support. They need interaction. They need someone to love on them, hug them, talk to them, cook for them. And so if you isolate, if you just withdraw because it all looks like too much, it isn't helpful for the healing process at all.
And you know what I was thinking about, and you might have discussed this on the show earlier, people who are grieving during the holidays because the loss of a loved one happened on that holiday. And they don't, and they can't, it's hard for them to embrace the holiday.
Yes.
When the holiday was the day that that person was lost to them.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
huge.
It's a little different.
It's a big point too. You know, that happened in our own family. My sister-in-law lost her dad on Christmas Eve. And so, and every Christmas Eve, she holds the family gathering. Mm-hmm. So you think that isn't a loaded time for her because she has plenty of memories about that Christmas Eve. And even if you try to not think about it, we have something called cellular memory. And the very cells of your body remember that pain that you went through on that night. So you've got that going on too. And sometimes people feel sick. Sometimes they just don't feel quite right, or they're overly emotional and they can't even figure out why. And then they look at the calendar or they put the pieces together and realize, oh yes, this was the night we lost Dad. So it's that holiday connection is huge. And then that creates more dread before the holiday, right? Because you just don't know exactly what you're going to feel on that holiday again.
Yes. And you know, it's always good to, and just in my opinion, I mean, we've all been through grief, but think about the loved one's loss. Would they want you to isolate yourself and be caught up in, sometimes it leads to depression, be caught up in the depression. And I know you mentioned create new traditions. And, you know, I just thought about before we went to the last break, of even just going out and just observing people, you know, Christmas caroling, or just if you don't want to be with people at that moment, just maybe observe. Go to like a place where people don't have much and they're celebrating Christmas, you know, whether it's a shelter, whether it's something for children, or go to a hospital and, you know, just find a different purpose where you can see the holidays through someone else's eyes who appreciates it, at least right now.
I love that. I love that, Michelle, because the reason we feel the pain we feel is because our focus is on ourselves. But if, in fact, you could go to a hospital and help, or go to a place where they're serving food to low-income people, or actually bring gifts to someone who would not have that. That can be so great for shifting your energy and warming your heart. And it also is something different that you're not associating with the loved one lost or the home lost or whatever it is that the loss is about. So I think that's a beautiful idea. And it's not sidetracking yourself because you're still clear about the loss that you've suffered, but it's putting your energy into something that gives you a feeling of purpose and warmth and just doing something good for someone else.
Oh, wow. So, we got about 2 minutes before the show ends. This is part 1. Next week is part 2. What do you want to say to the audience? What do you want to say to someone, the audience who's going through grief? We've had some comments here from a lot of people. Yolanda Anderson, thank you for your comments. Thank you, Monica Savage. What do you want to say to people who experience grief, but they're not in that place anymore? How can they help someone who's freshly experiencing grief?
Great question. Excuse me. First of all, I mentioned earlier, being authentic. If you are grieving, it's not a disease. It's not doing something wrong. It's your experience. So have it authentically, because that's the best way you can help yourself heal. But if you have the energy and the wherewithal to help someone else, that is the best way in the world to take your energy and your mind and your heart off your own pain. Whether it's helping little children who wouldn't have a Christmas if you don't do something, whether it's just being aware. If you go to the party and you notice that person who's standing back or who doesn't seem very cheerful, actually go up and say, hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help you? And mean it. And when they speak, if they tell you the truth of what's going on with them, don't tell them how they should change or that they should cheer up. Join them, connect with them, let them know, wow, I have been in a painful spot during the holidays myself. I know what it's like to feel like you're the only one who's sad in the middle of all these happy people. I get it. I get it.
No, that's all that information. We're going to pick this up next Thursday. Because we're going to talk about this again. I tell you what, tune in for part 2 next Thursday with Paula Shaw. And Paula, this has been absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to next week's show. Also, Yolanda Anderson. I mean, I go to shelters to feed the homeless. Hey, get in touch with me. That might be a good show. Get in touch with me and we'll see what we can do. But I like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely outstanding show. Paula, I give you one zillion hugs and thanks.
No, and you and Michelle.
And I thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on the radio on Sunday, KCBQ, and I answer out of San Diego at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also in Dallas, K-Sky AM 660 at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Always dream big, think big, and be big. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life, and we'll see you then.